Hello, my friends. This is 𝗧𝗺𝗵𝗃𝗃, the Positive Vibes artist. I am very pleased today to bring to you an unboxing, product review, and pen and watercolor test for this journal by Tiefossi. They are a company that was established in 2018. And their motto is, "We weaponize stationery against boring days." Wow. We shall see what's inside. All right. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I apologize for the glare from the ring light. Look at that. I am tilting it to avoid the glare from my ring light. Unfortunately, the glare cannot be helped. If I did not use the ring light, the video would be too dark. So, box within a box. The interior journal box comes shrink wrapped with a beautiful and large window where you can see most of the design on the cover. Oh my goodness. And on the back is the name of the company, Tiefossi. It says bullet dot journal in deep purple. Let's see, this company is located in China. And their email's right here on the package. Also on their website, if you look under their FAQs, they do offer a 30-day guarantee against any defects or major dissatisfaction with the journal you receive in your order. You just have to contact their customer service for a replacement, or I would assume either a replacement or a refund. Now here I am about to release this journal out into the world. I'm really excited. This is my second Tiefossi journal. I used another one as an art journal, a practice journal, and I pretty much filled most of it. And I don't want to show it because it's a practice journal. I got paint on the cover. It's a mess. So I am going to be using this one also as an art journal because I really love the paper. It is such a lovely quality. And, oh, on the back is their website. And now let's see if I can get this open without ripping the cardboard. Yeah, here we go. I'm already thinking of a creative project. I can use this. This cardboard cover and the acetate window in. Here we go. Oh my goodness, it feels like pebbled leather. It is not real leather, but it sure does feel like it. Let me see what it smells like. Yeah, it smells like vegan leather. But wow, is it gorgeous or what? Plain spine, plain back. We have gold foiling on all three of the edges. There is a coordinating pen loop and a ribbon with which you can keep your journal closed securely. And then we do have a pocket on the inside back cover for ephemera, stickers, and whatnot. And on the last page is also the logo and the website of the company, tiefossi.com. And this is the inside cover for this one. And here we have the Tiefossi logo. And of course, the "This Book Belongs To" page. Let me just see what the card says. It says, "Thank you for your purchase. Put pen to paper and let your ideas flow. And then on the back, it says, thank you so much, dear friend. Founded in 2018, Tiefossi is more than just a company. We are the designers of your workspace dreams. With a commitment to integrity and affordability, we offer a colorful range of innovative, quality, and fun office and school supplies. Our mission? To ensure that every purchase brings satisfaction, relaxation, creativity, and efficiency to our valued customers. Welcome to a world where every desk has a story. Welcome to Tiefossi, from your friend Tiefossi. And then there are QR codes for their socials. They are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Pinterest. Nice. Now for the paper. Oh, okay, the pages are numbered. Awesome. So we start with page 1, and it goes till, let's see here, page 192. So very comparable in page number to other bullet journal companies, of which you are no doubt familiar, like Archer and Olive, for instance. So the cover is just gorgeous. This cover is called The Mystic Eye. And I thank Tiefossi very much. They did send this to me, so I did receive this, full disclosure, in return for my honest opinion. And that's what I always give on my site, honest opinion. I also review books and card decks on my sister site, Magical Musings 1111. So I've been doing reviews actually since 1996. And the paper is really, really great quality. I love it. It is, it very much feels 160 GSM. It is dot grid. Let me zoom in. But there are the dots. And they're not very dark at all. So if dot grid kind of gets to you, this one isn't too bad. I've had other dot grid journals that are darker dots than this one that kind of drive me wackadoodle. But this one's really nice, light, muted, bluish gray color is what it looks like to me. Now the ribbons. Let's see the ribbon. We do have 2. Here they are. And they are both a lovely shade of royal purple. This shade of purple is actually my favorite color. It's been my favorite color since I was 2 years old, and I tried to eat my purple crayon because I was convinced it was candy. So just a little known fact about me. But it's a very lovely journal, and now what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to take it through its paces. What I do, excuse me, allergies, with every new journal, no matter if I've used journals from that company before or not, I will turn to the last page, and the last page becomes my pen and watercolor test page. And I say watercolor because I am also a professional artist. I primarily use watercolors. So for me, it's very important that a journal paper be able to accept water so I can blend the watercolors. So we're going to check that out. We're going to test it also for Tombow markers and see how this paper holds up. And by the time this video is over, you are going to know all there is to know about Tiefossi's journals. So here we go with the testing. All right, as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff out here. I'm going to be testing everything. These are my currently inked fountain pens. I'm in the process of changing from summer into fall. So these are all really low on ink now, except for the 𝗧𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 and eggplant. This still has quite a bit. Everything else is really low, but I think I have enough to do a pen test page with them. I'm also going to be testing the Arteza roller ball in 0.7, the Klena pen in 0.4, the 𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗃 by Tombow, and this is the soft one. And then I also have some Faber-Castell colored pencils here. So we flip on to the last page of the journal. Now I use the last page of the dot grid paper, and this is page 192 in the Tiefossi Mystic Gaze notebook. We shall begin with my Mayora made in Italy fountain pen. I actually won this, can you believe, in an Instagram giveaway. And I love it. And then all I do is I basically will just write out the name of the pen I'm using and the color of ink that is within the pen. This is a flex nib, so it gives you that really pretty line variation in the width. Let me zoom in so you can see that a lot better. There we go. So I'll write out the name of the pen. Nope, that's it. It is, well, wait a minute. There we go. Conklin. Rich mahogany. And I'm usually not too precious about my writing on my pen test pen. I just want to get the ink on there and see how the pens react. And then what I usually will do over here is just color in a square very heavily. I never use my inks that heavily, but it just lets me know what the paper can take. And then I'll make some notes here. This is the Omniflex. And I would say it is fairly smooth on this paper. The Omniflexes that I have tend to be a bit scratchy in journals. I do use a notebook with Tomoe River paper in it, and perfectly smooth on Tomoe River paper. So then I just flip it over to the other side, and I hold it up, and I can see there is absolutely no bleed through and no ghosting, not even on that dark square of ink. Maybe ever so slightly ghosting, but I mean, you really have to strain to see it. That's excellent. So now we cap that one and set it aside because I know I have to clean that one. Now this is the TWSBI Eco and Eggplant, and this contains Ferris Wheel Press, Aurora Realis, which is like, gosh, one of my all-time favorite inks. This is a shimmer. And again, I just simply write out the name of the pen on the very next line. And my mind just went blank. Eco. And this is the Eggplant. It's the only TWSBI I own. I hope to get some more in the future in other colors. And this has, oh gee, no wonder it looks so green. Though, senior moment here, I'm so sorry. This is not Aurora Realis. This is Emerald Gardens by Ferris Wheel Press. That's right. I had the other ink in here previously and replaced it with Emerald Gardens. And so I confused myself. And I can say about this one, the nib is medium. Nice and smooth. Really, it's perfect. So instead of a colored in square, this one gets a heart. And then I'll color in the heart, and the heart just means this pen is awesome. So I know that that pen reacts really well on this paper, because not all fountain pens will react the same to a paper, and it's just trial and error really to figure out which ones behave the best. And this has absolutely no ghosting whatsoever, not even on that heart that I colored in. And look at it. I mean, I was generous with the ink. So if it would ghost or bleed, it would do so in these little symbols that I color in on the edge there. All right. Moving on. Next up, we have by Monteverde the Invincia Deluxe in carbon fiber. This is a really cool pen with rose gold. I really love it. And this is a wider nib. I believe it's a 1.1 stub. Is it 1. Yeah, 1.1. So we're going to get a much thicker line. This contains, what is it? Monteverde Raven Noir, which is a really nice black. And again, I just begin by writing the name of the pen. As I do this, I am, oops, I was going to do an A. I am paying attention to how the nib feels on the paper, how the ink flows across the paper, whether I have to struggle at all to get the ink onto the paper. This is no struggle whatsoever. I am hearing it scratch on the paper, but it does not feel scratchy in my hand. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over right quick because this is a really dark ink, and I just want to see if it's at all ghosted. Nope. I'm telling you, this paper is 160 GSM. I don't know if it's magic paper or what, but I've got other notebooks that are 160 GSM that do not hold up this well to a thick application of ink like the Tiefossi notebooks do. Like I said, this is only my second Tiefossi notebook. I thought maybe the first one was a lucky fluke, you know? Because, I mean, that one's great. I've got acrylics in it. I've got watercolors in it, soft pastels, oil pastels, and it took it all like a champ. And again, you can't even tell I wrote on the other side of this page, can you? See, and I'm not lying. Let's see the page number. There it is. So let's cap this one. We have winner after winner after winner with the inks. Now this one might bleed because it is a 𝗡𝗚, and 𝗡𝗚s are very juicy pens. I also have a very wet ink in this one. I don't remember what it's called. I might remember once I see it out on the page. This is a 𝗡𝗚 talisman, and it has... I wear bifocals, so I can't see what this is. It's oh, geez, yeah, I'm blind. The size of the nib is right there. It's a broad. Ah, okay. Oh, and I didn't put up here. This is a 1.1. Hang on, let me do that. That is important to me. Okay. Here's the 𝗡𝗚. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It is so smooth. Oh, I love it. Okay. I forgot the specific name of this one. It is part of their Days of the Week collection. I think it's either Thursday or Saturday. Those are the two that I bought. So, I don't know. I'm going to put down Thursday. I think it's Thursday, but it might be Saturday. And, I don't remember what ink this is. Oh. Is it? Oh. It is. Actually, it's a collab ink. the collaboration between LCP, which stands for Little Craft Place. They are a stationery shop that are local to me. They're only 20 minutes from my home. They are known for their washi wall. And I mean, it's the most dangerous store in Texas, okay? I'm just saying. I can never get out of there for under $200. Not ever, ever, ever. So I really try to avoid it. I did go there for National Stationery Store Day. Oh, I had a blast. It was wall-to-wall people. It took over an hour in the checkout line. It was so worth it, though. Oh, it was so much fun. Let's see. And that's when I bought this ink. And the other company is Dominant Industry. And I've never used any of their inks. Honestly, I had never even heard of them before buying this ink, which is called Field of Bluebonnets, because the bluebonnet is the state flower of Texas. And Little Craft Place even had, well, that's on another pen, which you'll see in a minute. It's not on this one. We'll get to that in a second because it's coming up. Their Little Craft Place's collaboration with Pen Lux. I have that pen. I got the second to last one in the shop on National Stationery Store Day. Now we're going to flip it over. Now they're very well, if there is some ghosting or even bleeding, I would not be at all surprised because like I said, this nib is extremely juicy. Beinou pens characteristically are a juicy pen, and this ink is very wet in this pen. However, in other pens, it's very dry. So, I don't know. It's kind of strange, but let's see. Oh. Wow. Another boring white page in the video. But that's good because it's showing you that this notebook is really high quality. Wow. I am impressed by that. Now, this is by Conklin. I also am brand ambassador for them. They actually distribute through Jaffa Brands, which also distributes Monteverde. So I do reviews on both Monteverde and Conklin pens. This is the Endura, the Endura Deco Crest. And I believe the colors, well, definitely rose gold. And I think this color, I think they call it teal. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But, so the pen, oh my gosh. And the nib on this pen is just always so smooth, and it's so smooth on this journal paper. Oh my. Okay, Conklin Endura Deco Crest. It does have a transparent barrel. And so whatever color ink you put in the barrel, you're going to be able to see the color. It's really a nice touch. This, again, it's from my summer inked pens, so it's about out of ink. So you don't see the ink in the barrel at all. It's all the way down in the nib now because it's about to run out. Now this is, what's the color? With Monteverde Azure Noir. Okay, now I'm going to do, well, let me flip it over right quick. Did any of that? Okay, very, very little, if you can see that. Extremely little. I have to squint to see. There's a couple of dots of ink here, a couple here, and there's like a little line here and a couple of dots of ink and a dot of ink here. That's it. I mean, you've really got to strain your eyes to see it. Oh, there's a couple of dots over here and a couple here. Now I'm going to color in. I'm going to give it a heart just because the pen itself is absolutely divine. This is a, what size nib is it? I can't see something. Okay, it's a something. I see lines. Hey, it's a medium. That's a really thick medium. Gosh. But that's what it's saying it is on the nib, a medium. But it is such a crazy smooth pen. And when I use it in my notebook, my 𝗃𝗏 River Paper daily journal, I have to be really careful with this pen because the nib is so smooth, it'll actually glide on that paper and write a little bit extra than what I intended. So like, you know, if I do like an L and I go to swoop up for the L, it'll just go whoop. And I have to really be careful with L's and Y's and P's. And so now let's look at that heart. Yeah, see, there's a little bit of ghosting here. Not very much. Again, you almost have to squint to see it. That's amazing because it ghosts everywhere else. So, because it's such a dark ink and this nib is so wet, as is also the ink. But that is the Conklin Endura Deco Crest in medium nib. I should write that down in here too. Okay. Now we're going to go to the pen I thought I was writing with earlier with the Field of Bluebonnets ink. This is the collaboration between Little Craft Place and Pen Lux. I will be reviewing this for my channel. I was filming some other stuff that I posted first. I have promised a review of this pen and I will do so. It is like, when I brought it home and I showed it to my husband, he took one look at it. And he said, if there was ever any pen that was made for you, it's this one. Because it's got all my favorite colors. It's got purple in there. It's got pink. It's got darker blue. I mean, it's just, it's a stunner. It really is. And the nib, Ian and Eunice, who are the owners of Little Craft Place, they had the, whoops, I'm off camera, sorry. They had the nib engraved, and that is an outline of the state of Texas there with a blue bonnet. And this is a fine nib, and it contains, oh, what is the ink I put in here? I did have the Dominant Industry and Little Craft Place collab ink Field of Bluebonnets in this pen. This pen is called also the Field of Bluebonnets. But that ink doesn't do well in this pen, which is a real shame. It runs really dry in this pen. I had a very difficult time. So I put 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗀 Chameleon in this pen, and it writes like a champ. But we'll see on this paper how it does. So this is, okay, wait a second. Here we go. Little Craft Place. And Pen Lux collab. Field of Bluebonnets. I apologize that I keep running off camera. I am zoomed in so you can see the writing as it appears on the paper. So it's kind of difficult. I have to keep looking up at my phone, which is in a tripod over my head, to be sure that the action is actually on the camera and not off camera. Okay, so I wrote it out, and this is, again, this is a fine nib. And I'm going to flip it over. Oh, wait, I forgot. With Monteverde Chameleon. Okay, now. Yep. See, as you can see, another boring white page in my video, which is good. And now we move on. Now we're out of the realm of fountain pens, and we're going to go into some everyday pens. I literally use these every day. This is the �energil-Klena. It is a 0.4 millimeter nib gel pen, and this is the Arteza Rollerball in 0.7. It also comes in a 0.5. At least it did a couple of years ago when I ordered a huge box of each size of those pens. So I love this pen. This pen writes really great in the Happy Planner on that paper. It just loves that paper. All right. So again, I just start off making sure I'm on camera here first and writing the name of the pen. Now this pen will often feel scratchy on journal paper. Did you hear the scratching? However, you might hear it, you don't feel it. So that's really good. And I'll just make a note of that. Little scratchy. And no problem. And I'm pretty sure that is not going to bleed. Let me just... Yeah, it didn't bleed, it didn't ghost, didn't do anything. So that's good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just give this one a square. I like the way the ink looks on the paper, but I typically do not use the 𝗧𝗺𝗏 rollerball in my notebooks, in my journals. Like I said, it's really nice for the Happy Planner. Oh yeah, that's the Conklin Endura Deco Crest with the Monteverde Azure Noir in it. That it has bled through a little bit with the heart, but the Arteza did just fine. Now we go on with the 𝗀𝗏, a very popular pen with us journalers. I love how smooth the ink flows in this pen. And again, this is a 0.4 millimeter nib. It's gel ink. It is by Energel. It actually looks finer than a 0.4. It looks like a 0.3, really. Again, I wear bifocals and I can't read any of this. So, oh, it says it's a 0.5 up here. That does not look like a 0.5. Well, I'm not here to review this pen, but I'm just telling you that does not look. Just for that, it's not going to get a heart. I'm just going to give it a square. It's smooth. I got to change this to a 5. Does not look like a 5. Okay. And that did just great. There is nothing there. Can't even tell where I used it on the reverse here. Now we go on with the Fudenosuke. And this is for faux calligraphy and kawaii art and all that good stuff. This should be just fine because I have used it a lot in my other journal. But again, regardless, I still test all materials because you just don't know, especially since the worldwide disaster that was 2020. I've noticed quality of brands I used often prior to 2020. 2021, the quality took a real dip in a lot of companies' products. And it's probably just because, you know, people weren't able to work in 2020 hardly, and so the factories were kind of empty and they weren't producing as much. And then when they did go back into production, I think a lot of people rushed the products out. That's my theory anyway. Now this is the soft. And I typically, Fudenosuke, I typically use the hard tip in my dot grid journals because the soft is just a little bit too soft for this, but like on Tomo River paper, the soft and the hard also are both great. But I typically don't like using the soft in my journals, in my dot grid journals. I'm pretty sure this ink is going to be just fine though because I used it so much in my other Tiefossi journal, and yeah, there's absolutely nothing there. No bleed through, no ghosting whatsoever. I apologize. I was totally off camera for that whole swatch of the colored pencils. As I was saying, I typically do not use any colored pencil in my journals because they're just so scratchy on the paper. I just can't deal with that. But these are by Faber-Castell, and they are going on smooth as silk. I am stunned. I did not use colored pencils in my first Tiefossi notebook, and now I regret that. I am going to be using them in this one for sure. I mean, look at this. I'm going to run some of the red orange into the yellow because I want to see how they blend. Yeah, not too great, but then again, that's what I fully expected. I fully expected that, so. Oh, I'm getting kind of a green over here, though. That's nice. Let's see. Very interesting. That's really nice for colored pencil. And then I just make a note that this is Faber-Castell, because I also have 𝗔𝗿𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗃 and what's the other one? The polychromos. No, not polychromos. The watercolor. Well, they're by Faber-Castell too. 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about them. And these are, yes, these are the polychromos. I just cannot believe how well they do. They definitely get a heart. And I can't wait to do something in here in colored pencil. That's going to be exciting. Wow. Okay, cool. Now we move on to the Tombows. And again, I'm doing the same with these that I did with the colored pencils. I do need to get water though. Just a moment. Believe it or not, I'm getting close to wrapping up here. Just as I said in the beginning, by the end of this video, you're going to know all there is to know about Tiefossi notebooks. So I start with the light shade here. Oh my, it's going on really smooth. Very nice. Then we go with my mid-tone. And the dark. And then we're going to put some water on here and see what happens. I love Tombow markers because they are water soluble and most of them blend beautifully. Some of them kind of act like they don't want to blend on the paper. It's nothing to do with the notebook that you're using or the paper you're using. I think it's the pigments in the marker. Some of them, especially in the red range, when you go, scribble scrabble with the marker like that, the lines just never blend out. Here, the lines are blending out. Now, as I blend, you're seeing all these little specks appear on the paper. That is the fibers of the paper trying to rebel against that water, but if you give it time, it's going to dry, and those little specks should disappear. At least they have in my first Tiefossi notebook, so we'll see what they do in this one. But there we go. These are the Tombows, and then I will make a note of that. Dual brush. They are brush tip on one end, fine tip on the other. All right, and most of them blend wonderfully, but like I said, those in the red and dark orange range tend to have some problems. A couple of the brown ones do as well, where they just don't want to blend out easily. Now, speaking of blending, now we're going to go into watercolors. But you see these dots? Let me zoom in. You see those little dots? They should, in an ideal world, disappear. So here's hoping they disappear, because in my other Tiefossi notebook, the dots created when I added water to the paper always disappeared. It was great. Like I said, it's magic paper. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with this one. We'll take another real close look at it in a few minutes as it dries. Oh, and I didn't show you the reverse, did I? We do get some bleed through, but this is mainly from the water. It's not really from the pigment. If I were to do just the tombos by themselves, let me do that so you can see. Let's do it right here. Okay, laying them down pretty heavy. And then I'll turn it over and we shall see what we shall see, or perhaps not. If they don't bleed or anything, you're not going to see anything. And again, don't see anything. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So let's set the tombos aside. We are now done with those. And now we go on to the watercolors. All right, I was looking around for a pipette. I did not find one, but I found this little spritzer. So I am just going to spritz my watercolors a bit. If it'll work. I just need to get them wet enough to where I can, of course it gets all over the table too. Oh my goodness. Paper towel, paper towel. There we go. These watercolors are by 𝗏𝗏 and Keiko is on Instagram. She's on YouTube. She makes the most wonderful handmade watercolors. She is one of my two most favorite watercolor brands. My other favorite is Masha Watercolors. She is also on Instagram. I don't know if she has a YouTube, but she's definitely on Instagram. Now, I did have one more pen I wanted to try out before the end here, and that's fine because I always label the brand of watercolors I'm using for the test. And I also do 3 watercolor tests on here. The first one will start off with a clean wash of color first. Then I see how the paints react and blend within that wash and how badly the paper may buckle. The second test will be just a moderate amount of watercolor, still a fair amount, but not as much as over here. And then the third is just going to be paint with just enough water to activate it so that the colors will blend. And that will tell me how the paper will take a lot of water, moderate water, minimal water. So this is with 𝗏𝗏 Watercolors. Oh, this writes really nice. This is the Pilot. Wait, I can't talk while I write. The Pilot Precise V7 RT. It is a gel pen. These are really nice pens. And I'll just put in parentheses, Pilot. What's it called? V7 RT. That's what I thought. And then that pen gets a heart for sure. Gosh, it's so smooth. It just wants to run all over the place. Okay, let me just double check. And notice the dots on the Tombow. Now that it's pretty much dried, it's not completely dry. I can still feel some buckling in the paper, but those dots are gone. All those little fine specks we were seeing are now gone. Now I'm going to flip it over to see how the Pilot did. It did just fine. And you'll see here we still have a little bit of bleed through from the tombos because of the water. So I'm assuming the watercolors will react similarly. We shall see. I certainly hope not, because they didn't act that way in my first Tiefossi, but you know, we shall see. Oh, and let me label. This is for your benefit, not for mine, because I use the same system all the time. And I just, lots of H2O. Moderate H2O. And little H2O. And now we're going to do our tests. So I'll just rinse off my brush here in my clean water, and I just plop it on there, and I just put a ton of water. And again, I basically just abuse the journal right here. Yeah. Courtesy of my dog Magic. She's an Australian Shepherd, and oh my God, that dog is so bushy. And I also grew up with an Australian Shepherd, and her fur was really sleek. And she didn't shed like it was going out of style. So I don't know what's up with my current Aussie Shepherd. Now, as you can see, the water is soaking through the paper. That's why we're seeing all these gray dots here. So it's not great, but it is what it is. Because typically I don't use a lot of watercolor in my bullet journals. I tend to save that for my actual watercolor journals that have watercolor paper in them. So they, you know, they're made to take watercolors. And now I just drop in a darker, denser color on top just to see how it's going to react with the paper. I may add a little bit more water to it just to see. And there we go. So that is a lot of watercolor. I mean, a lot of watercolor, a lot of water. And then I just take my brush, rinse it all off again, and here in the middle, I'm just going to do a single clean wash of just plain water, and then I add my colors. So as you can see, since there is now less water, these watercolors are going to react a little differently, which is just what they should do. And again, I'm just seeing how the color blends. I'm not pushing the watercolor on, I'm tapping it with my brush. And then we go with the blue shade here. I like that. That's really nice. You're not seeing so much of the dots. They are showing up a bit, but not like in the first example. So you can see the shine from the water. They're still really wet. And if we look at the other side, I'm sure there's going to be bleed through. I'm sure. Oh, it's not bad at all. Wow. Okay, hang on. Let me pick this up. All right. There you go. It's mainly just the water that you see here. You don't really see the color. And then we don't see any water over here. Just a couple of specks here and here. Now I'm going to use minimal water. So that means I'm using much more pigment than water. But again, I'm doing it with a fully wet brush. And I'm going to start with the lightest color first because, you know, I don't want to pollute my yellow here. So there it is. I'm going to rinse it. And I add Orchid. I love this color. It's so pretty. I think this is Orchid, yeah. And I'll go in with the blue shade. This is Sweet Blue. If I'm not mistaken, I think Sweet Blue is kind of a gouache. I'll have to remember to ask Keiko so I can put it on the bottom of the screen if that's correct or not. But I think it is, because it goes on really heavy. I do have some of her Moana here too. This is like a gorgeous shade of deep, 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 like a deep Prussian blue. I love this color. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. That's not going to spread too well because it's pretty much dry. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Look at that. Oh. Should have used that instead of the Sweet Blue, but oh well. And here we go. Oops. All right. That is the watercolor test. Now, as with the Tombows, we are getting those little specks all throughout. But then as we go down to using moderate water, we're just getting a few specks. And then over here, you don't see any specks at all. It's the water that creates those because, again, the fibers of the paper are being overwhelmed by the water. Now, a little trick you can do if you're using watercolors on paper that is not made for watercolor and it tends to get a little crinkly or wavy, while it's still really wet like this and still shiny under your light, you can just grab it by the edge and gently pull on it. And that will stretch those paper fibers because, see, the water is causing the fibers to shrink up and the fibers are just like, I don't like water, you know? And so we stretch it out a bit, you're stretching out those fibers, and you'll end up with a pretty flat sheet once it has dried. Don't pull too hard because you will rip your paper. That should be the extent of the pulling. And then I flip it over. You can look at the other side. We can see some puckering. A little bit of puckering there. It's not bad at all. And it is 100% to be expected because, again, this is not made for watercolor. Now, just wait for this to dry and I'll be right back to show you what it looks like. All right, I'm back here just for a few seconds to show you the process of how the watercolor is drying on this paper. You can still see all the specks over here. You see more specks here that have come up. But where I've used only enough water to get the colors to blend together, there are no specks on the paper. And then on the reverse, this is what it's looking like. So a little bit of puckering in all three tests, but no bleed through, unlike the Tombows that bled through. And I think probably the reason they bled through a little bit there is because with markers, you are pressing hard on the paper as you draw with them. So now I'm going to wait and see how these look when they are fully dry, and I'll be right back to show you that. All right, so it's been an hour, and now we're going to see how those watercolors dried on the paper. Here they are. As you can see, those dots never actually went away. They're still there. They don't rub off or anything. It's just the way the fibers in the paper are reacting to the paint and the water. Over here, where I used moderate watercolor, again, you can see some of the dots, but most of them that were originally there have disappeared. And over here, where I just used enough water just to get the watercolor paint to blend with one another, get the colors to blend, there are no dots at all, and it looks really nice. Now we flip it over. You can see some slight crinkles there, but absolutely no bleed through, unlike with the blended Tombows up above. Perfect. Now what I do in my journals when I end up with crinkled pages like this, on the opposite side of the watercolor, if I want to use this page for something, I'll just glue down a piece of scrapbook paper there, decorative paper, a big piece of ephemera, whatever, to cover it up. So, you know, that way you still use the reverse side and that crinkle look will be nicely covered up. So, in my opinion, the Mystic Gaze notebook by Tiefossi is a winner. I really love it, and I am highly recommending it to you. And I will be recommending it to my followers over on Instagram as well. And if you're interested in ordering one for yourself, I do have an affiliate code. It is on the screen here. Also, all of my other affiliate codes for other companies, both journaling, pen companies, art supply companies, are in the description below. If you use my affiliate codes, you save money at no extra cost to you, and I get a tiny little commission. And I do appreciate your support of my channel very, very much. If you've made it to the end of this video, please leave a little purple heart emoji below in the comments. And if you like, let me know what you thought of it. I thank you all for watching. This is 𝗧𝗺𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗄𝗵, the Positive Vibes artist, wishing you a blessed day ahead.